Folks, welcome to Vintage Baseball Reflections. I am Tom, the baseball nostalgia guy, bringing you these treasured pieces. Do you miss the good old days of listening to baseball through radios? It was a classic pastime that stood for decades and shaped how we cherish baseball and our heroes. These stories are from a moment in time that were heard by fans just like you. They are uncut, unfiltered, simply here for you to enjoy. So I just want you to enjoy this reflection on baseball history.
From Day to Durocher to Lemon, it's Double Play with Durocher and Day. With their guest, Bob Lemon, here's another chapter of Double Play with Durocher and Day. Welcome to another visit with baseball's most exciting and controversial couple, Laraine Day and Leo Durocher, with their guest for today, Bob Lemon. Right now, Laraine is about to broach a very delicate subject.
Now, Leo, why are pitchers, as a rule, such bad hitters?
What do you mean, why are they bad hitters?
They're bad hitters, that's all.
Oh, now, just a minute.
Yes, just a minute. Leo's right, Laraine. Fans, Leo and Laraine are definitely not talking about their guest for today, the famous pitcher and hitter, Bob Lemon. However, we'll take that question up again later in the show. But first, let's take up another question. And now back to Double Play with Leo Durocher and Laraine Day and their guest for today, Bob Lemon.
Leo and I would like you to meet the very famous pitcher in the American League, Mr. Bob Lemon of the Cleveland Indians. Hiya, Bob.
Hi, Laraine. How are you
Nice
today?
to have you here. You know, you're not the only pitcher on the show. I'm a pitcher.
Well, I understand that.
Yes, I pitched in Puerto Rico.
You did?
Yes, I did. I was very good. I was the first pitcher before I was relieved.
You were relieved, all right. I remember that very well, Bob. We played an exhibition game over there. And what an exhibition she put on before the game.
If you've pitched, you've been relieved. Anybody that's pitched any at all has had a relief pitcher now and then, I'll tell you that.
That I know.
Well, before we get into these questions, I would like to know exactly when you're relieved, what does the manager come out and say to you?
I've been quite fortunate. I've played with some very nice, even-tempered managers. I've heard of some managers are awfully rough.
Well, just a minute. What do you mean you've heard of some managers?
Don't you know
I
of
can't,
any?
I can't
After all, you
delve on
can't.
it too much because I know nothing about it. So I'll just go along with the managers that I've had. And they've been very nice and said, well, it doesn't look like you have it today.
Do they say, excuse me, first?
No, sometimes they use a little profane language.
What about when you were playing in St. Louis, I think, and Freddie Fitzsimmons, you went out to take him out in a tough game. I think it meant the pennant, didn't it?
Well, it was 1941, and we were fighting for the pennant, Bob, if you recall. We did win the National League pennant that year. And this was the opening ball game. We were one game in front, and we went in there to play a three-game series. And Freddie Fitzsimmons was pitching a great game, but as you know, he had threw a knuckleball so much, and he has a short arm anyway, it's sort of crooked, and he can't straighten it out. And along about the sixth inning, it started to get shorter from throwing that knuckleball. And about the eighth inning, with the score tied, and he was in trouble, I dashed out to the mound, and I was about to take him out. And when I got about 10 feet from the mound, he saw me coming, and he walked right toward second base. And he was like a big caged lion, and he started to scream at me. He says, "Get away from here. Get out of here." I said, "Come here, I want to talk to you, Fred." He says, "You're not going to take me out. You're not going to remove me from this game. I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to pitch, and I'm going to win it." And he was real upset and real mad. And do you know that I went back and stood on the rubber, and I said, "You got to come back here before you can pitch." He said, "I'm not going back there, and you get out of here. I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to pitch." Do you know that I did not get to talk to Fitzsimmons on the mound? He walked out near second base and wouldn't come back. And so the umpire said, "Come on, Leo, let's go." And so I had made up my mind by then, well, I'll let him win or lose it. Well, he finally did win it 4-3 in 11 innings. But there's one time that I didn't get to take a pitcher out, and I really had my mind made up to take him out. You know, there's
Is that one
sometimes...
reason that you send Freddie out?
There's sometimes I send Fitzsimmons, who's now my coach, because it's happened to me so many times, Bob, when a pitcher, I think, has lost his stuff or is going bad, and I walk out and say, well, how about it? You tired? And he said, well, I'm a little tired, but let me go one more hitter. And about that time, you know what happens, Bob. You do. And that's the hitter that hits one and knocks all. You got to have a ticket to get it.
He gets you out of that jam right
He gets
quick.
you out. He empties the bases, and the game is over.
Well, good. I think we should get to this letter from Gene McKinney, who wants to know, now, Leo, why are pitchers, as a rule, such bad hitters?
What do you mean, why are they bad hitters?
They're bad hitters, that's
Oh,
all.
now, just a minute. I got some pretty good hitters on my staff.
Come on, spell it. Name him.
Well, now, wait a minute. Spell it. Coslow's a good hitter.
Yes, but he doesn't pitch enough to come up to hit.
Oh, he comes up enough. I mean, he's a pretty good hitter, and as a rule, you'll find there's some pretty good hitters in baseball pitching.
Leo, I've been sitting in the stands watching. They can't hit their weight.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, I'm supposed to be a pretty good hitter.
Well, all right, but you're an exception. Now, why are you such a good hitter?
Well, I think mainly because I started out in the infield and they moved me to the outfield, and the reason I'm pitching is because I couldn't hit.
You couldn't hit or couldn't
no, here's a pretty good hitter. He's being very modest.
Yes, well, you see, Leo was an infielder, too, and he couldn't hit
Let's
either.
not bring that up.
I should have made him into a pitcher. That's what he should have been.
That's what he should have been? Yes. Did you ever want to be a pitcher?
No, I always wanted to play shortstop. I figured that's one place that I could play, and I couldn't throw hard enough to be a pitcher. And I couldn't hit enough to play the outfield. So I had to take some other position that I thought defensively may keep me in baseball, and that's the reason I picked on shortstop.
All right, well, now...
That's the way with myself. I finally found one. I settled all around till I come to pitching and found out that I had pretty good luck, and my hitting picked up.
Not only that, he's a real good pitcher. When you
pitcher.
mentioned that he's one of the great pitchers of the American League, he's one of the great pitchers of baseball. This fella can really pitch.
All right, but now to get back to these pitchers, isn't there something that can be done to make them better hitters?
Yes, but when the pitchers are hitting, who's going to pitch to them?
Well, on our club, we have Jack Lorkey or Shen. They pitch to for batting practice.
Well, that still isn't the same thing, though. A pitcher is just something different. They put more on the ball, and a fellow that plays infield or outfield, well, he kind of protects his arm because that's his livelihood.
I agree with Bob there, and I've been giving that an awful lot of thought, and I'm going to recommend to Mr. Stoneham, he give me 3 pitchers, young kids, that are not on my regular staff, that can pitch batting practice to my pitchers so that they can get to be better bunters and possibly better hitters. And after all, it's always been my theory that maybe a good sacrifice, Bob, by a pitcher may win him 2 or 3 extra games a year, and that may mean the pennant. It'll improve his record and may mean the winning him or losing of a pennant for you. So I think that's very important. I'm going to recommend that.
Okay.
Time out now for this message. And now back to Double Play with Durocher and Day.
All right, let's find out for Mr. Diarcos, what should he do to go about becoming a pitcher?
If you're going to be a pitcher, you should have a good fastball and good control, and just work on one pitch that you can get over any time you want. Make it your best pitch and work on the control of it. Control is the main thing.
What is your best pitch?
Well, I have a slider and a sinker that I try to work on, but my control isn't too good. I walk quite a few men.
All right, well, what is the difference when you're holding a ball? You can make a fastball drop or a slider.
Or
How
a
would you hold it with your hands? Or a sinker?
Well, I grip everything between the seams, and the way I've tried to describe it before is a fastball is thrown this way, a slider is thrown this way, and a curveball is thrown overhanded more.
And what's the sinker?
Well, the sinker is off the fastball. It's just natural, I think.
Bob has a natural sinker here. When Bob throws the ball, it just sinks. Now, I know that in the first playoff game that we played Brooklyn, Jim Hearn pitched a marvelous ball game, Bob. He beat Brooklyn 3-1, and he just threw sinker after sinker, and the ball was sinking, I'd say, 6 to 8 inches. Every time he'd throw a fast one, it would just dip. And when the ball game was over, everybody in the club, all our pitching staff, Jansen and Magley and all of them were telling him how much his ball was dipping and sinking, and he said that he was holding it like he always has, but this particular day, the ball just was sinking rapidly.
Some way you let go of it.
That's all.
It was off your middle finger or something.
Then there's just no way you can tell anyone how to hold a ball to throw a sinker, like you can show
No,
them
I
how
think
to hold
that's
a ball
natural.
to throw a knuckleball, but there is no way.
Sometimes it's between a fastball and a screwball.
Well, speaking of screwballs, I'm probably a screwball to ask this, but would you show me how to wind up? I mean, Leo may get in trouble and may need me.
You got to be ready, you know.
I've got to be. I'm ready. I'm ready. Come on.
I want to watch this. This is going to be good. I want to watch this.
Well, I think you toe the rubber with your right foot if you're right-handed. Are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
You think, all right.
Yes.
Well,
I'm right that way anyway.
Look down and get the sign. Usually you put the ball behind your back, so if you change your grip on the ball, well, the batter can't see it, or some of the coaches...
Or Charlie Rett.
Or some of the coaches steal your pitches, can't
Don't
see
watch
it.
the ball.
All right.
Then you get your sign, and then you, free and easy, you go up as many times you want to, you get ready, and then you turn and lift your leg and let her go.
All right, now let's see.
Does that make any sense?
No, but I'll try it. All right, now my right foot's out there, and I bring the ball up like this.
No, you don't bring it together. You just
Just
free
start
and easy.
swinging
Just
now.
free and easy. Yeah.
All right. Do you want to sing
the
while I
beat.
do this? All right, now when do I throw it?
Well, whenever you're ready. Just
then I go
turn.
this way and throw
Let her
it.
go. That's
Wonderful.
right.
Now, how do I hold a man on base?
Well, I think the thing to do is get set first. I think the National League and the American League are different. We have to take our sign on the rubber with our right foot, whereas I think in the National League, Leo, well, you
Yeah, you can take it off the rubber. You can straddle or take it off.
Stand behind the rubber. But in our
That's
league,
right.
you have to take the sign on the rubber. And I have a peculiar way of standing on the rubber. I always lean over and put the ball behind me.
Well, your stance is all right with me.
All right, thanks. Just lean over and look at the catcher, and when you decide on what you want, we'll come up. Just come up free and easy and come down to a relaxed position and go into that rocking chair again. And
don't you have to keep watching that guy on first?
Oh, yes, but see, you're standing from me. I got to watch you. There's no fun looking over this way. I got over to you.
All right, well, I've got a man on first
if you got a
base.
man on first base, look over, look back, look over. And don't get any set way of just looking once and going to the plate, because a fellow will steal as soon as he sees that you only look once and throw to the plate. Well, he'll take off.
Can you look this way?
You can look any way you want. If you can see that way, it's kind of hard. But
Well, you know,
that
it might be a pretty good idea to have a mirror on your cap, you know, like a rear...
that's cheating.
Oh,
You can't do anything with
all right.
you.
What if I did this, and I'm holding a man out, and I wiggle my fingers? That's a balk.
That's a
isn't it?
balk. You're deceiving the runner.
You know, we saw the picture Angels in the outfield, and the pitcher in the ninth inning was doing that all the time he was holding the fellow on base.
Yes,
They
well,
didn't call it on him.
Well, you can
Bad
get rid
umpire.
of get a lot of things across the movies you can't get along with. Those umpires that can see so good, you know, they all got good eyes.
In pictures.
No, in baseball.
Oh, all
In the
right.
movies, you know, the umpire probably isn't looking.
Wonderful. Well, you were saying there was so much difference in the American and the National League, which is true. Don't you think it's easier to pitch in the National League?
Well, I'm not
American
so
League?
sure that there's an awful lot of difference as far as the brand of baseball, Bob, that's played in the American and the National League. In my opinion, I think it might be a little bit easier to pitch in the American League than it is in
Well, I
the
find that
National League.
they play for a big inning in the American League, and they kind of bunt and run and have all those banjo hitters over in the...
Wait a minute. We got some pretty good hitters in the National League. You know, that Musial's no bum. You know, he can hit the ball pretty good.
And
Well, we have Williams.
And what's the matter with that Kiner? I mean, every time I look
what
up
about
at...
Jackie Robinson?
Well, they're fair. I mean,
What do you mean they're fair, Bob?
how do you
Now, wait a
like
minute.
that?
I only see them. I've only been fortunate enough to see them a couple of times. That was in the All-Star game.
See, at least he admits he was fortunate enough to only see him.
And
That
don't
must mean
forget,
that
you know, the
really
National
had-
League finally won one in the
Yes, and
All-Star
we can go into the World Series.
Oh, no, we haven't got time to go into all that. We want you to join us on our next session, same time, same station, and thank you. Thank you, Bob Lemon.
I still think it's easier to pitch in the American League.
He always has to have the last word. So long.
You've been listening to another chapter of Double Play with baseball's most exciting couple, Laraine Day and Leo Durocher. Today, Laraine and Leo had as their guest Bob Lemon. Join us when again it's time for Double Play with Leo Durocher and Laraine Day, plus another big-time guest star. Double Play is produced by Marty Martin, directed by Ted Neeland, and is a Marthead production.
VintageBaseballReflections.com features a treasure chest of baseball audio. The wonderful thing is the audio isn't a guy like me or a few talking heads reflecting on players, seasons, or teams. It is the actual players from that era, announcers from that era, giving you an uncut, unfiltered, unrecent day stance on what it was like then. These are real-time clips from that era. Now, we encourage you to check out our entire back catalog of baseball audio. And if you like old-time games, and folks, you are not alone. Join the membership section to enjoy interacting with fans, scoring games with folks just like you, and listening to hundreds of radio broadcasts that were baseball classics. As a special offer to you, type in This Day in Baseball for a discount just for you. And if you enjoyed the show, hit the plus sign to subscribe, follow us on the socials, and above all, share us with your friends who love baseball history just like you.